that it's really one of the best things about having a transplant in Rochester is that you would have the ability to stay at the transplant house.
I believe that transplant house, Gift of Life, it's the ideal place for patients who have a transplant.
I think there's an awful lot to learn about what your transplant just by sharing it with people in the house.
Everyone is so friendly, everyone is so nice.
Anybody can come, anybody can be here, and anybody can work here.
The whole community aspect of it was something I think, anticipate at first, but realized that that was probably one of the most important things that the Gift of Life Transplant House provided to me.
The hard part is that patients really don't know when they're going to have a transplant, so they are running this marathon, trying to get to this finish line, but that finish line moves.
The Gift of Life is for transplant patients. They don't belong in a hotel. They need to be in this caring environment where they have the opportunity to share their experiences with one another.
Gift of Life was started in 1984 by Mr. Ed Pompane. Ed had had a transplant when he was 17, and so he really understood why Gift of Life was important to start. And we had humble beginnings. He had bought a very small home. I think there were 7 bedrooms in that house. We still own that house. Sister Jane actually lives there now. The mission of Gift of Life is simple. It's to provide accommodations in a home-like, helpful environment for people that's really affordable.
The Gift of Life wasn't founded by any religious order or any entity like that. You know, from 1984 until 91, the 2 houses were staffed by a couple of lay people, and they used to have a cleaning crew come in. It was a very skeleton crew and very few volunteers. And then in 1991, Sister Margene and I came, and she was appointed the director and I was appointed as the facilities manager. And in '94, the Gift of Life Board of Directors decided to expand. And so we expanded. We acquired the Judd House out front, and we added 32 sleeping rooms to that building in '95.
So we've gone from one house with 7 rooms to the Judd House, which has 48 bedrooms. We have the Founder's House, which is directly across the street. There's 3 bedrooms there. A few years ago, we were really curious to find out what our occupancy statistics were. And as we went through our notes, we realized that in the last few years, we had sent over 900 people each year to hotels because we were just full at Gift of Life, and we just didn't have any rooms to accommodate them. So with that piece of knowledge, our board of directors decided again that it was time to expand. Consequently, the piece of land across the street came available at that time. And fortunately, we were able to access that land. In December of 2008, on a very, very cold day, we broke ground. And 11 months later, in November of 2009, we're really happy to say that we invited our first guests into the new house.
I started the transplant house because I visited transplant patients in the hospital, and they would always ask me if I knew of a reasonable place where their family could stay while they were having a transplant.
People of every race, religion, or creed are welcome at Gift of Life Transplant House. The only requirement is that they're on the transplant list.
There was a couple that I helped one time. They were moving in. It was in the summer, and I opened the door for them because I could tell they had bags, and they were from Texas. And I said, well, you know, what brings you here? She said, well, my husband, he's the patient, he has some disease you've never heard of. It begins with an A. And I went, amyloidosis? She said, yes, how did you know? I said, well, there's 3 of us or 4 of us in here with that same disease. That's the kind of thing you would never get had she and her husband chosen a hotel or a motel. It's invaluable.
We were in a hotel for about a week before we got here, so it was hard, but then we came and took a tour here, and I don't know, we really liked it. Like, it was homey, And it's nice because people like are going through the same thing, so you have other people to talk to.
The situation is not like this everywhere. In Ohio, I would have been an inpatient for my entire stem cell transplant. And so this was a definite advantage to be in a place where I could come and still have mobility as a patient.
The people at the Mayo Clinic said, you know, this is a nice place to stay. There's a lot of, it's a great environment, a lot of support. You can't get a better location to the clinic. And so we came here, we had a tour, and we said, okay, we'll stay here when it's time. And then I got the call 6 months later, and we showed up. I had no idea what I was getting into.
In the first month after their transplant, actually they stay right here in Rochester. The first week is in the hospital, roughly 7 to 10 days in the hospital, and then after that it's in the outpatient area. So they stay in Rochester, come to the clinic usually 2 or 3 times a week, and on the other days they get labs drawn. And we do a lot of adjustments of their medications in that early time period, monitoring their blood pressure and their weight and doing all kinds of different adjustments to make sure everything is as it should be. So their key job at that early time period is to make sure they understand their medical treatment, what they're taking, their medicines that they're taking, and what adjustments that we're making. So we tell them to take this and that they're actually taking that. And then the other thing that they're doing is getting stronger at that point, because people are fairly profoundly debilitated or sick by the time they have their transplant. Many patients, can't get out of bed right away after the surgery and need to get stronger.
At Gift of Life, we only charge $25 a night for guests to stay there. So it's really affordable for people, especially when you think of the cheapest hotel in town is $45 a night plus tax. And at that point, if they're staying at a hotel, they don't have all the extras that they have access to at Gift of Life. We have kitchens here, we have TV rooms, there's a laundry room here at Gift of Life, and those are things that people just don't have when they go to a hotel.
I do recommend it, especially for the reason that I think people get, the support that people get from others. I think that's the most valuable thing about the transplant hospital.
It's people coming from all over the country to this place. They don't have friends, and yet they make some of the closest friends they'll ever have by coming here and having a place like this to stay at.
So I think that's one of the most important things, important parts of the decision, is the camaraderie and the support that patients get when they stay at Gift of Life.
What's the worst part? What's the best part? How long did it take you? How do you feel? All of those things, I don't know how you would understand that if you lived even in a real luxurious hotel. You're not mingling with others who have experienced what you're about to experience. That, to me, was invaluable.
The community at the Gift of Life Transplant House really is the success. It sounds like it could be cliche, but truly it isn't. It's the community that's created there that creates the love and the hope and the understanding. And I think that helps the healing process.
But I think the biggest reason for the success of the transplant house is the support that both the transplant patient and their family members or caregivers receive while staying at the house.
The whole community aspect of it was something I didn't, I think, anticipate at first, but realized that that was probably one of the most important things that the Gift of Life Transplant House provided to me.
And I think they can sometimes learn from each other. Seeing someone else go through it, knowing someone else is going through it compared to us telling them what it might be like when I've never gone through it myself, I think is very important.
You meet people here who share your experience and the same problems, and you take strength from them and you give strength to them. It's really a nice place for having a transplant.
I think the biggest benefit is the environment that it provides. The house itself maintains high standards of cleanliness, works to minimize exposure of transplant patients to infection, And the staff there is extremely supportive of patients and their families and what they're going through. And then also, again, the environment with the other patients there and the support that they provide for each other.
It's the shared experience. You know, we watch our loved one get very close to death. And, you know, we have this shared bonding from knowing how close our spouses were, or our brothers, or our mom or dad was to death, which is why they're here, and that they get brought back from that to have another chance at life.
It's nice that the caregiver and patient knows that at any time there's somebody else there who cares, who they can go to, whether it's for an emergency, whether it's to share a cup of coffee, or just chat.
And it's very much feels like you have a new family in the course of the time that you're staying at the house.
The care and the love that people have with each other is really, really big and very touching.
I met 4 people that had the same operation with the same disease, and I had no idea what to expect when things were done. Like, okay, when it's all said and done, am I going to be able to walk? You know, these were the thoughts running through my mind.
Sometimes when someone finishes the treatment and goes, you really feel like someone yours is leaving the house.
I had one patient who was 68 waiting for a liver transplant for a cancer, and another girl who was 30 waiting for a transplant. They bonded, and you know, they still correspond, and you know, stuff that you would never expect. People become really close to each other, and I think it's pretty neat.
It's just so homey, and you have everyone here supporting you, and they know what you're going through, and it's just really nice to have that support. Even, like, it's nice, like my family, they support me, but it's even more supportive, kind of, because when you have people that know what you're going through and they're there.
We have game nights. We all, you know, people play a ton of games together. They do puzzles. There's books. There's magazines. We do a ton of potlucks. Support groups meet here for the various illnesses. Musicians come in. Singers come in. We do Thanksgiving and Christmas. We have a Halloween party. Every other Tuesday, the Mennonite girls give a concert.
But it is a life-changing experience, and people at home don't get it. You know, if somebody comes for a kidney transplant or a heart transplant, they think, oh, he's going for an operation. But it is so much more than just a simple operation. It is life-altering.
Cumulatively, all of these experiences build up, and you think, yeah, we all helped each other.
Gift of Life Transplant House is an independent nonprofit organization, which means we rely wholly on donations from the community and benefactors. It's very difficult being an independent non-for-profit in a town this size, because there are plenty of them, and everybody has a great cause.
It's not part of the Mayo Clinic, which I think a lot of people assume that it is, because it's so nice looking. It's as beautiful as all of the buildings at Mayo Clinic, so you just assume it must be part of the Mayo Clinic, but it's not.
Donations are a key to maintaining the house and allowing it to function, and with the opening of our new house across 2nd Street from the old house, we're still working to pay off the mortgage, and so that we can pay down that debt and maintain our financial viability.
The other day, the Stewartville High School class brought paper supplies. I forget how many boxes, and we were just going to have to go out and buy, because we were getting down on table napkins and toilet paper and paper towels and paper plates, and they came with about 10 huge cartons. So we had enough for both houses. And this was just a project that the high school kids had. I thought it was great.
But then we got the house here that is very small, runs on a very small budget, and really could use things, and they can be much more appreciative of it. And I felt so much better in giving here because of what kind of impact it can give to all the people who will be coming through here for the next many years, and be able to enjoy the lounge in the other house, enjoy the TVs, the computers that we provided.
We're always looking for ways, new ways to bring money into the house, and fun ways to bring money into the house. Every year we have a golf tournament. For the last 5 years we've had a wine tasting event, which is a fabulous event. This last year, one of our former guests, Adam Patrick, had in his mind that he was going to put together a 5K race for Gift of Life. Adam was a runner before his transplant, and shortly after his transplant he started running again, and just thought that this would be such a fantastic way to get people to hear about Gift of Life Transplant House and to raise money.
So obviously we just did that last month and got over 100 people out for a 5K and raised over about $1,800 for the transplant house. So that's something that I'll always be a part of in the future, is my hope to, you know, help the operational costs and that are involved in helping people that need the transplant house.
But those events are essential for bringing our friends together to help us raise money to, you know, to help carry on our mission here and to pay our bills.
Really is only there because people support it. So if people don't support it, then it won't be there.
Always have a positive attitude and keep your mind on stuff, because like when I was doing hockey and playing and I actually was looking forward to stuff, it helps so much more, and I always thinking about what I'm going to be doing in the future and all that kind of stuff, because it just helps you push you through it.
I'm feeling great. I mean, like I said, I have serious goals now in the next 3 months to run a marathon. So I'm in the heat of my training, and it's been a journey to get where I am, and I just think that the transplant house facilitated so much of the process of getting to where I'm at, that, I mean, it's just, there's nothing bad I can say about it.
There is life after transplantation, and it's been good for me, and I would imagine it'd be good for anybody else that decides to go through it. And without donors, I wouldn't be here, and lots of other transplant patients wouldn't be alive today. So I guess I'd like to leave with that. That's been good for me. I wouldn't change my life. Wouldn't trade it for anything.
But the future really of Gift of Life Transplant House, it's not two separate houses. It is still one home. And I think our future really is still looking for benefactors who will support us well into the future. And we're always looking to upgrade and make sure that we're taking care of the patient. Annually, we get together with the social workers, just so we all know, you know, we're on the same page.
I'm always impressed by how many patients and their families tell me what a wonderful gift the Gift of Life Transplant House has been for them. And this comes from them unsolicited. It's not something that I always ask patients about. So I think it's one of the best endorsements that we can get from the Gift of Life, the Transplant House, is the experience that the patients and their families have when they're there.